Well, the first thing for me is the humanitarian crisis. Now, according the OCHA, the United Nations Agency, there is 2,030 dead yet, and most of them are not from direct violence. Is because of indirect causes, like the lack of food, or the lack of health service and infrastructure. For example, well, the malnutrition is the cause of most of these deaths, and there had been other episodes like the a cholera outbreak because of lack of adequate infrastructure. Um, uh, Almost 24 million of people, that is more than two-thirds of the population, need some kind of humanitarian protection or support, and 14 million are in accurate need of in acute need of assistance. That means that they depend they life they basic um, uh, for the daily life. They need support to be able to 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 survive, in fact. And 4 millions of people have fled their homes. 1 million is now is returning. That means that they had be able to come back. But when even the returnees, most of them have lost a lot of things, and it's a vulnerable population. But 3 million is still displaced people. Um, and in the next weeks, um, there are the risk with the well, if we have time, a new well, the current battle that it's open now. There is risk of 3,100 people could be displaced in the upcoming months, and 5 million of people are in a high risk of starving. They are in high risk of malnutrition. Uh, another reason of why United Nations should be involved is that even if it started more or less as internal conflict, really fast it become an internationalized conflict. We call them internationalized internal conflict. They are really frequent in Africa, for example, but in fact, it has more or less the characteristics of some African conflicts. Um, there is, as you know, the Saudi-led coalition in the ground with Egypt, Morocco, Sudan, and other countries. United Emirates, United Arab Emirates, in the beginning started as allied with Saudi Arabia. Now they have some misunderstood between them, even some conflicts in the ground with the partners. Uh, and it have withdrawal his forces, but US and UK provide technical support with some small quantity of people, but some technical people in the ground, and well, several Western countries are selling arms to the Saudi-led coalition. At the same time, Iran arms and support the other the other part, no, the Houthis. But it's difficult to know the real level of implication. Both are, well, they explain that the Iran is not really involved, but we show there are some evidence that the rebels are using arms manufactured in Iran, and some ships had been intercepted with arms coming from Iran to the rebels. And even if it's not open support, and probably I have to say that Iran is quite prudent, because he knows that it's a sensitive issue for Saudi Arabia, and open implication of Iran in the conflict could escalate in a regional conflict, and for that reason is the implication of Iran is quite hidden. Then all that mean that the problem of the internationalized wars is that the war it's felt, or it's fit for the external actors, no? And thus it can be prolonged indefinitely in the time. There is not the resources are endless, or can be almost endless, and the interest and at the same time the interest of the external actors can have an impact or interfere in the evolution of the war, no? For that reason, an international, I think that an international or United Nations action is needed. And as I explained, is that this conflict has the capacity to destabilize the region, and at some point had been close to destabilize. The confrontation of Iran and Saudi Arabia at some points had been really high. Well, and the last issue is that, in fact, United Nations is already involved there. There is the Consell de Seguretat resolution 2215 that it's from 2015, I think, the year, and it calls the Houthis fighters to withdraw from the areas that they signed 2014, sorry, and they can give back the heavy weapons to the government. Well, they don't accept that resolution. It was at the beginning, and the things have changed a lot since then, and it's quite accepted that it's an obsolete resolution. It will be not easy to implement, and something new needs to be done. There is an important agreement, the Hudaybiyah agreement, with even blue helmets on the ground. As you know, maybe we can, if we have time, we could explain a bit after. But the Hudaybiyah is a main port, a main infrastructure for Yemen, who was controlled by Houthis, and the coalition make a huge mobilization of resources to attack this city with the main port. And this port, well, it depends on the sources, but it's considered crucial for Yemen economy, and it's considered that it's essential for the maintaining or the cover the daily needs of. In some sources speak about 11 millions, others speak about 20 millions of Yemeni people who needs these resources. And for the reason when at some when the well there had we saw an action of international actors to broke this agreement that is the only one that it's still in place and is more or less respected, or at least part of it it's well respected. United Nations is involved in the current negotiations between parts as a mediator sometimes, but it's making some propositions too, and well, it's an essential humanitarian actor with a huge work being doing led by OCHA, but there is several agencies from United Nations working there. I have put this map because I think it's interesting to remember the geography of Yemen and the situation, to see always or to have a brief or to have an idea about what is the main factors in play for the regional powers. In fact, the Yemen had been the backyard usually of Saudi Arabia. Is the poorest Arab country, and the last decade, the last decade, Saudi Arabia had played a big role in the like a king. Well, it's considered a kingmaker. Well, who decides at the end who is in power, no? And why for Arabia Saudi it's important? Well, Yemen is a populated country with a supposed republic who will become democratic or started a transition at some point, and so that it's a really different model, political model, that the absolute monarchy of Saudi Arabia. But at a geopolitical level, it can control the Gulf of Aden that you can see here, and that means it have the same importance than the Suez Canal, that it's a main way for all the oil that it's produced in the Persian Gulf to be exported. The main part has to pass through the Suez Canal. Then it's a strategical position, Yemen. In fact, as a curiosity, Djibouti, that it's the other part of the Gulf of Aden, it's a really small country, but it has the biggest French military post outside the France. No? It's a really strategical place that can put the international a big part of international commerce, and strategic for the producers of oil in the Persian Gulf. At the same time, Houthis, as you know, are Shiite, are from a Shiite religion, even if it's a different branch than the Shiites in Iran. The For Arabia Saudi, it's perceived it's seen like a dangerous issue if they take the power in Yemen, or they have a big power in Yemen, because at the other side of the border there is another big group of Shiite population that is minorized and not recognized, but Saudi Arabia, and is like well, it's a fear of the regime, and sometimes it had been mobilized, and it had some well, some tensions about this population, and then may represent even a danger for the regime, the Saudi Arabia regime itself. I think that there are other minor issues. Well, as you see, that they share a very long border and the most of part is desert, difficult to control, and that is another issue that makes Yemen really important for Saudi Arabia. I think that it's the main issue. Well, only making a small think a bit or fast how we arrived here in the 90s. There is the unification of the North and South Yemen to form a single state under the President Saleh. The President Saleh were yet the President of the North, who continues in the power during all this time. In the 1994, there is a war with the south of Yemen, because the south feels like had been not well treated, or it's seen as it has a lower status than the north, and since then there is an independentist movement who still is active and is inside the Arabia Saudi coalition. It's curiosity, even if they have some big internal problems, and even at some point they had fights between them. From 2003 and 2009, the UT group started some protests, because it was marginalized, and even they had violent fights with the government, and his leader, the Houthi leader, had been murdered by the government forces. With the situation, with these two big conflicts inside the country, well, and there is some Islamist, radical Islamist movements like Al Qaeda and Islamic State, who have presence in Yemen. We have to see that, well, this area, it's a big desert, and it's there is a very few population, and it's easy to be controlled with some small armed groups, and at some point the Islamic State and Al Qaeda take small parts of the control of this region. Yes, with this situation, we arrived to the Arab Spring with a president who have ruled during 53 years and well, with big problems of corruption, and there is a huge pacific protest against the government. Then, with the start of the repression, lead to the splits in the army, who take part in the different positions. Well, is split, and at the end, Saleh, the president, steps down, and with the intervention of the Gulf states, the vice president becomes interim president. It's the current president, Hadi. He comes from the south, but he's opposed to the independentists of the south, and at some point we will fight. The problem is that the solution that the Gulf states have proposed is not accepted by the Houthis, and they mobilize, and at some point, they take the control of the inside Sana'a, the capital, and the government don't accept what they ask, and that in fact was a share of power, more share of power. They want to be recognized as a main actor, and they want to have more presence in the interim government and in the future of Yemen. And well, they make is not accepted, and they make a state coup d'état, but the Hadi president, well, it's arrested, and then he flies, and it's a story, but at the end is recognized, the president, the Hadi president, it's recognized as international president, even if the control of Sana'a, the capital, and the main institutions, it's in the hands of the Houthis. Well, this is the situation more or less now. It's a map from International Crisis Group that have done a very good work. You can see the green areas is the Houthis, that at the beginning they were on the north, and they take the control of the most populated territory. In fact, it rests the south. The south, as I explained at the beginning, Unit Emirates support the independentists against who fight at some point against the recognized President Hadi, and but we can see that in fact the two main parts are the Houthis and the Hadi-led government. But even if we can see the two big parts, in fact, even inside of each part, there is a lot of differences, and there is a lot of confrontation. We have to think that the Yemen is it remains a lot of tribal structures yet, and then each group has to negotiate with each tribal leader, or to change the leader if they can do that. But I mean that the actors, in fact, they are really fragmented inside the actors themselves. They have big tensions in the Houthi side because they are not only Houthis, they take a part of even the administration of the state. When they take Sana, they include in the mobilization part of the administration of the state. They are Sunnis who take part because it is seen like a anti-Saudi invasion and anti the Hadi government mobilization in some point. But and in the other part, there is the same problem. Hadi, it's not well seen for a lot of smaller actors, but they are more or less unit or collaborating because they are against the Houthis. In fact, they are two coalitions made against the other part, but not they don't share, or they even some political parties who join Houthis, they are telling openly that they will not support Houthis when the war is finished. But now they have to be with them because they are against the old government or the old infrastructure. That is a important point to bear in mind. As I told before, there are some jihadists present here, but now at the beginning there were more regions controlled by different actors at the beginning of the war, but as the two main parts become stronger, they take the control of almost all the country. I think that it's the main issue. I don't know. Well, there are some facts, but I think that I am a bit running out of time. I will only, there is a bit of some facts, but we can pass. I will only make a small reflection, and then if you have questions, I can explain a bit more the main facts. But I want to put on the table one issue that it's a real critic. Critic to the pacemaking process led by UN now, and the critic is that is based mainly in the two main actors, as because they are the strongest, who more or less control the territory, and who are the best armed, and they decide if the war continues or not. But the issue is the pacemaking process cannot be based only with these two groups, because, as I explained, even inside these groups, when the war will finish, they will not have the control of the other smaller groups that they have inside, and they will be confrontations. And for the reason, it's important to include to be inclusive in the pacemaking process, and to open the pacemaking process to other to other actors, even if now they are smaller because they are with less armed or not armed at all, or even pacifist. But it's needed, because if not, we will it's it's not easy, but we can see it's easy to make an agreement with two parts to share the power of Yemen. But the problem is that will polarize the society, and the exclusion of and will let outside the most of Yemenis, because they both parts together, they don't represent the majority of the Yemenis, and some of them represent armed groups who will destabilize again the country. But if we are seeing in regarding a bit further, we should, well, there are social actors that played a main role during the war, like a women's group that make important contributions to providing social stability, or organizations of human rights, or all political parties who have legitimacy and respect of the society, and they are active actors who can play a role to facilitate the transition, to give legitimacy to the result, and to put together again the society, that to give stability and to help to advance in the reconciliation and all these things. Well, I think that yes, I am a bit out of my time. I stop here. Thank you very much. If there is some questions, I am happy to try to understand.
Go ahead, China.
I have a question that I think we need to solve. How come we made to stop the war if it's not a conflict only between other sort of Yemen, but we have to stop another forces as Al Qaeda and Islamic State?
I miss a bit of the question, but the question is how we can stop all the forces and the Islamic State and together. Well, I think I have to say it's difficult to know, but the information that I have is the Islamic State and Al Qaeda now they are minor role. They lost the most of they at some point they control big areas of the desert, but now it's considered that they don't control the territory. They are there, they have the presence, but they are not able to control the territory. And I think that there is a lot of different versions of why Al Qaeda and Islamic State enter there. Some of but the question is probably the best way to solve that is improving the conditions of life of the people, and for that you need to make an agreement with the main actors who is inclusive and who allows to advance to the real transition, democratic transition, and to economical growth, because Yemen it's in a terrible situation at the economical level.
Thank you very much. And you also a question by, well, you are told before that to make a good process of peacemaking, we have you repeat right now the same you said, that we must be inclusive with women, human rights organization, and educate society. But how can we educate people? Well, you say that some people has very low economical state. So how can we educate society if they are poor, majority?
The last question, I lost the last question. You say that how educate them if they are
Yeah,
poor?
exactly. So, somehow.
Uh, well, I think there are two different things. One thing is the word itself, and the other is the development of the country. But it's true that both are linked because, well, it's obvious, but now we should start with the, the to end the war, to be able to develop the country after. But and how to stop the war? Well, that is the Security Council to see that. It's true that it's sure that without pressure, the two main actors will not accept include the other actors in the table. It's evident because they will lose power, and as we see, the fight is a fight for the power between them, for the not only the in a short term, because they are not only thinking in the sharing an interim government. That, yes, that's true, and the Houthis ask for the half of the power in the government, and well, there are other parts that ask to the half, and well, they all are obviously more than 100% of the power, and it's not fit. But the issue is, yes, if you have to put, if we have to put more actors sharing the power, that means less power for them. And the only issue is making more pressure on them. And well, I think that the Security Council is the only actor who can do that with legitimacy.
Thank you very much, and sorry for all these questions.
No,
But
no,
you have really much to me. Thank you.
There is any other question? Okay, I will let you to discuss then the solution and find a good solution for Yemen. I think that you have a very important role.
I think
very much for inviting me.
Has a question, maybe. So please.
Hi, I just wanted to ask, like, firstly, am I audible? Can you hear me?
Sorry?
Can you hear me? I mean,
Yes,
am I audible? Okay. So I just wanted to ask, like, do you feel that the implementation of the Hudaydah Agreement has been useful, and to what extent implementation has been successful in Yemen?
The implementation of
The Hudaydah Agreement, extent has that been useful and in the conflict, and to what extent it has actually taken place?
Yes, I think that was a first step, and in fact, United Nations expected that was possible to escalate and use it as a support. But even the agreement was respected in the fact that the positions, well, the ceasefire, the fight stopped there, but the agreement tells that the forces have to withdraw from the city, and even that was not fully respected, and there were a lot of battles around the city. In fact, then that was sad because, as you explained, well, as you point, it was an opportunity and is a starting point. It's true. After the disagreement, started. Was useful to start contacts and it finished with an important prisoner swamp. Prisoner swamp, it's called, between the two parts, and it started to construct a bit of confidence and between the parts, but was broken fast.
Thank you.
So does someone else have a question? Well, if you don't mind a question coming from me, Guillem, I'd like to know how do you think the situation will change with the change of presidents in the United States? Trump's presidency was marked by his support for Mohammed bin Salman, and now it seems that Biden is going to change his position. So how do you think that will affect the situation as a whole?
Yes, well, in fact, I think that if we are discussing this in the Security Council is because the change of presidents, that creates a serious opportunity to finish the war. I think that the main actors now, they are interested in find some kind of settlement. Yes, as you know, Donald Trump, the last days of Donald Trump declared Houthi movement as a terrorist actor, and that means that all the international organizations were not allowed to work with them, and that supposed a huge risk of humanitarian crisis because they control a huge territory, the main territory, in fact, in Yemen, and that was a really serious problem. Biden not only change this resolution in his speech. He mentioned directly Yemen as a main issue to be resolved, and as you know, he removed the support to Arabia Saudi coalition of the most he called like the offensive power. He removed the offensive power or the for the Arabia Saudi coalition. That it's well, there are another issue that is in Arabia Saudi, that it's a political issue in terms of even competition for power inside the Arabia Saudi, that the war in Yemen is a bed, no, or is a solution who find the bin Salman to improve his position in power, no, in the competition with the religious branch and well, and with some parts of the family, and it's not going well for him in this issue, and for that was really difficult to withdraw forces from Yemen for him, because he cannot accept that he lose the war, and he can get some substantial issue before to withdrawal. But well, with Trump that was more or less possible, because it have well, he have a unconditional support, but things have changed a lot, and I think that it's my opinion, but well, it's difficult to know. But I think that at this point, Arabia Saudi is interested in not losing too much and to have a withdrawal, being able to explain that he wins something and he gets something about all this implication in the war. But well, he needs to do that. But I think that if he can't, he will win the war, because it's a huge source of problems for them.
Well, I don't know if anyone else has any question for Guillem. Well, thank you for your presentation, Guillem. That was very interesting. I hope some of our delegates have obtained some insights from your presentation. And again, thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. And I hope that you will find good agreement.
Let's hope so. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a nice rest of the day.
Same to you.
Bye.
Bye.